This just in, breaking news from the Rock Fight. A group of San Francisco-based tech investors have announced they are launching a subscription-based publishing ecosystem of adult-themed outdoor magazines. Gear Hunky Plus will debut this spring with an orgy of coverage of all things uncovered outside. The first issue will feature Alexi Handhold's attempt at the first clothing-free solo of El Capitan in Yosemite, complete with centerfold, listicles, and affiliate links. Gear Hunky Plus's glossy full-color print editions harken back to a day when people had to pay for their adult outdoor content or find it in the woods behind their house like everyone else.
While that may not be true, you know what is true? Ibex Merino is as home in your shop as duct tape on Denali. We're talking authentic heritage, real sustainability, privately owned, and of course, premium performance that has become legendary. From everyday essentials like the goat tee to expedition-ready pieces like the Mammoth hoodie, Ibex has a premium merino layer ready to outfit any of your customers. Schedule some time with their team at GOA Connect in Kansas City this November. You know, maybe it's time to make a little room for the goat in your store.
Rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight.
Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and today, The Brief is back. Time to take a closer look at Mammut's latest brand effort with our own producer, Dave. But before we get to that, some programming reminders for you. Come back to the Rock Fight on Monday. Well, I'll be joined, like I always am, by outdoor industry insider and consigliere to the Rock Fight, Owen Comerford, as well as brand expert producer Dave, who you're going to hear in today's show. And hey, have you subscribed to Gear Abby, the newest outdoor podcast hosted by Shantae Salabert that is blowing up right now? New episodes come out every Thursday, and you can send your outdoorsy questions to deargearabby@gmail.com. Check out Gear Abby today. And lastly, be sure to subscribe to News from the Front, Rockfight's semi-weekly newsletter, by heading to rockfight.co. You can also send us an email with feedback on any episode of The Rockfight at myrockfight@gmail.com. So many ways for you to connect with us here in the Rockfight universe. But today, The Brief is back. Like I said, I'm joined by brand and creative expert and Rockfight co-founder, producer Dave. What's up, Dave?
Dude, that's a lot packed in there.
Well, you know, we just get a lot done in every episode of the Rock Fight.
A lot of multitasking going on.
This is what we do.
A little bit of that.
All these other outdoorsy podcasts are like, we're going to talk to this one person for like 90 minutes.
No, we're going to talk to 9 people in 10-minute intervals.
Yes.
That's right. Speed podcast.
You get your money's worth, which is free.
That's right, which is free. Damn it. We are that is ROI, baby.
It is for you, the listener.
Yes.
All right, so if you've not heard an episode of The Brief, this is our kind of semi-regular brand deep dive. So far, we've had a look at Speedland's Portland billboard efforts. We had a look at Engineered for Whatever with Columbia's CMO, Matt Sutton. And today, it's Mountain Wear Rescue by Mammut. Now, coming up later in this episode, Dave and I will be joined by Nick Brandenberger, who is also the chief marketing officer, but this time for Mammut. And we're going to get some insight into how all of this came together. And then we'll come back after that to wrap things up with Dave's final analysis of the campaign, where he will rank originality, brand fit, messaging clarity, visual impact, and strategic cleverness, as well as determining how many fucks Mammut gave in the creation of this campaign. I'm going to think it's probably a pretty low number. Let's get started. Dave, we've had 2 episodes of The Brief. This is the 3rd one. Why did you want to go deep on Mammut?
Well, Colin, I think this one was kind of easy. It kind of rose to the top pretty quickly because once it kind of came through your social feeds, it had the benefit, and I think it achieved the status of standing out. Right, so immediately you looked at it and go, "Wow, this is different." Now, the techniques that they use are tried and true. The type of humor that they used, just kind of the construction. We've seen, but they did it well, and I guess that's the takeaway here. It stood out. I wasn't expecting Mammut to deliver, and what they provided was done well.
So if you haven't seen it, the campaign is very much a mockumentary style in the vein of The Office, Christopher Guest movies, of a team of folks who are assigned by Mammut of running around and saving the Mammut products that are not being used in their natural environment, which is the mountains. It stars Katie Burrell, who you might know here in the U.S. as a kind of outdoor personality. She's a filmmaker and a comedian and a bunch of other personalities as well. What else? But what am I missing, Dave? What else is about this campaign? Should the listeners know about? Well, I'll link it in the show notes. But what was it about the campaign that?
Well,
caught your
yeah,
eye?
like you said, it's a mockumentary, so we're spying in, and the absurd. It's an absurdist premise, right? That they're giving tickets out for people who are not using their outdoor gear properly. So again, taking on kind of the gatekeeping theme that comes up all the time, kind of turning it on its head. You've got the hidden camera aspect and people kind of going and making asses of themselves into an unsuspecting public, right? So there's a little bit of kind of, I would call that soft jackass to it, right? Where they're playing these bit parts in terms of faux reality. But like I said, I think that's the setup that we've seen, but they use it really well. And they've got a German comedian, what is it, Yannick Appitz, as a comedian, plays a designer. Katie Burrell and her partner in crime, Lindsay Ham, kind of play the two that are out, kind of just goofily making fools of themselves as they try to impose their will on an unsuspecting public. You also see cameos from the CEO comes in. And so they again, they're kind of merging the worlds together. And like I said, what stood out to me though, Colin, was not so much the construct, which I'm always down for a good mockumentary. We're part of the Spinal Tap generation, so it's like we're definitely it hits hard. But I think for me it was, like I said, they landed the humor, which is really, that's the hard part. It's the construct we see all the time. There's a lot of just kind of like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's kind of funny. But they achieved that rare kind of opportunity to be more than just add funny, right? It's funny, right?
Yeah.
And with that, it's the timing, it's delivery. That to me was obvious immediately. Oh, they're playing on a higher level. Give that to Katie and Lindsay specifically. Yannick does too, I got to say. But just the interplay back and forth, the way they cut the edits together really showed some understanding of how, humor needs to play.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There was a reason, not to take just a shot at Chaco, but they recently did a thing on Instagram where they've got like a Yeti running around and trying on Chacos, which it kind of falls into that. I think what you just described was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Right, that was a nice 30 seconds.
Kind of funny, and again, a premise we know, Yeti. Okay, but I'm always good for existing premises done well.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Like, nothing offensive, but also it's like, well, but hold on, let's stop for a second. What could you have done with this premise of Chacos and a Yeti? And it's like there could have been, I think, a whole other way, like thread you could have pulled on that, and that's where I think the Mammut campaign really lands. Of like,
I do
they
have to
pulled
correct
this off.
that though. I do have to correct. I'm sorry. It was a Sasquatch. It really wasn't a Yeti.
Sorry.
Right? Just different parts of the country. So we
Probably
have to
different
be
color fur.
On brand is definitely more of a Sasquatch.
Are they both Bigfoots?
Or big feet.
Or big feets?
Yeah, I don't know the genus of that family tree there, but that would be an interesting. I'd like to see that.
Well, we'll see
done out.
If they keep going with this Sasquatch Yeti thing, then maybe we'll do an episode of the brief.
Somebody has to have done kind of the phylum, class, order, genus, species.
There's
of
some
that.
psycho out there that has absolutely done this. But
right?
But back to Mammut. So, but David, prior to this campaign, I mean, we're talking about what 1869 or something like that when this brand was founded. What was your assessment or opinion of Mammut prior to this?
Well, I'll definitely. I didn't think they had it in them. Right. I think that look, and let me just back up a little bit. I am a big fan, and I've talked about this before, of when you have a performance brand, and Mammut is certainly a performance brand, that you have to establish your performance credibility before you take on humor and lighter and absurdist type of themes, which are always popular, right? Mm-hmm. They're popular, but to set the table of why you belong in this conversation. So if you're a new brand, to me, that always makes sense to, you can get attention with kind of humor for sure, but then I want to set those performance credentials with a brand that maybe they have to undo some mistakes in the past. They're recovering, right? They're diminished. So restarting the conversation. In the case of someone like Mammut, they are not diminished. They don't need any kind of repair. They're certainly not a startup. And they've kind of always been about the credibility. That's really the kind of almost a monotone conversation, frankly.
Yeah.
And so with them, it was definitely they had an open door if they wanted to walk through it of, okay, let's show another side of our personality and of the personality of the people who wear our products. We think that they have more than just one-track mind of performance. So I think that's...
Well, I mean, I think that also starts with the culture at Mammut, which again, I didn't know about prior to this too, because you mentioned their CEO being involved in the campaign. Like that is actually, that's their real CEO. That's the only one here who's not an actor. And like and it's not just limited to this campaign. He's in a bunch of stuff that they're doing. So talk about like demonstrating it from the top.
Well, look, I think, again, you have to have cultural buy-in to do something like this. I mean, it's I'm definitely a big fan of trying things and seeing if they work, and if they do, doubling down, and if not, pulling away. And sometimes, the culture is going to be resistant to it because they've done one thing, and I think we did hear stories, or we're going to hear stories of somehow that played out in kind of the production of this. But yeah, you have a CEO who's willing to try and put himself out there for it. It says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I'm worried about one thing, and we talk a little bit about this with Nick in terms of like what's coming up next, I'm worried this one may fizzle out. I mean, the one thing I liked about what we heard from Matt when Sutton at Columbia when we did that episode of The Brief was that the engineer for whatever campaign is going to have legs. They're going to roll this out, I mean, maybe upwards of years. This is the new brand direction for Columbia versus this one for Mammut. They're kind of at the end of it, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do next. They might bring some things back. I really feel like they could milk this one, but it may already be over too.
Well, the only thing that's as immediate or more immediate than your product introduction is your brand messaging in terms of what have you done for me lately. Right. So you're right. That is always the case here. And so can they keep up the attention? Can they keep up the quality? Humor is tough. Going to say it again, but they've demonstrated that they have some kind of feel for it. So yeah, I think that bodes well. But now it's priority. And look, too, if they decide to move to let's say a performance-based campaign next, that doesn't mean they're abandoning this. Again, a brand like that has many personality traits that they need to talk about and give kind of priority to. And hopefully they're layering them in so that they've got some on the top, some in the middle, some at the bottom, and then they kind of filter through what rises to the top. Right now, this is at the top. So, to that point about your Columbia, let's see in 6 months what they're doing, or let's see even, in a year we come back, what have they done? Columbia has seemed to follow up pretty nicely with some of the stuff. I think the stuff they have coming out for Halloween is a wonderful extension of where they've gone.
Yeah, it's really good. I think I just ultimately want the actual Mountainwear Rescue Team series. I want Greg Daniels to, he launched. They're doing the paper now at the spinoff of The Office. Like, can we also do Mountainwear Rescue? Because I agree. I want full episodes.
It does feel like a Netflix series or maybe Hulu, I suppose. Actually, it probably is more like an FX, but it could be done.
I agree. All right, well, let's take a quick break. We're going to hear from some sponsors. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Nick Brandenberger, the Chief Marketing Officer for Mammut, and then stick around after that to hear Dave's final assessment of the Mountainwear Rescue campaign by Mammut. All right, look, we all know the Rockfight is the voice of the outdoor industry, and as such, I'd like to introduce a new brand. Bob and Doug McKenzie are here, everybody. Just hitting the outdoor scene. Everyone meet Travoka. Travoka empowers outdoor enthusiasts and adventurers with elegantly rugged products that enhance every journey, from the backcountry to the backyard. They have a lineup of gorgeously designed e-coolers, power stations, and camp kitchen products. Travoka crafts premium outdoor gear that empowers you to bring the amenities of home without compromising on style or performance.
What is an e-cooler?
It's a electric cooler.
It's not something where you put your electronic devices to keep them cool?
When your laptop's overheating, you just pop it in there real quick.
Pop it in an e-cooler? I kind of like that.
I like that
put
too.
All my cords.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
You can put a beer in there with it probably too.
Who wouldn't?
Hey, retailers, you want to get an in-person look at the full range of Travoka products like the flagship Rigel DZ e-cooler or Travoka's Vega 1500 portable power station? You can at the 360 Adventure Collective Show in Greenville, South Carolina this November. And if you can't wait that long, head to Travoka.com to learn more today. Travoka, where the best adventures are the ones that spark connection around the fire, at the table, or under the stars. Winter's unpredictable, guys. Mild one week, it's freezing the next. I mean, I grew up back in the mid-Atlantic. Every inch of snow was exciting until it melted into a soupy mess. And then to make things worse, it would refreeze in the driveway, making walking across it impossible. It's just going to be Owen's daily life here in about 6 weeks.
It's beautiful right now in Michigan, I would tell you.
No snow yet.
Yet.
Going outside.
You people over there on the West Coast, you think that Michigan is this like snowy mess? No, I mean we get some snow, but it's cloudy and dull. But
I hate to tell you, Owen, it's worse than that. We don't think of it at all.
Oh,
You Don Drapered Michigan?
Okay, Mr. Portland. Jesus. Okay.
Look, I can't go. You know, when you're on the West Coast and you think about the East Coast, like Colorado, it's hard. Anything past that is just.
Dave, you are on one today. I told you no edibles before the podcast.
No,
it's just edamame.
No edamame. That's right.
Well, whether you're in Michigan or Portland, going outside can become its own adventure, and that includes choosing what to wear. And that's why people have trusted Fjällräven jackets for more than 50 years. Born and tested in Sweden, they're made to handle everything from everyday cold to true Arctic extremes. The philosophy is simple: build outerwear that performs, protects, and lasts. From the Keb Gore-Tex jacket to the Expedition pack-down hoodie, you'll find something that suits the winter conditions you know are on the way for your neck of the woods, no matter where you are. And retailers, if you want to see the best winter jackets you should be carrying in your shop, schedule an appointment with Fjällräven at GOA Connect in Kansas City this November. The rest of you, check out fjällräven.com. All right, guys, adventure is calling. Hey, are you ready to answer? Are you ready to answer?
Or is it going to say spam call?
No spam.
That's right.
No spam, because coming early in November, Lems is dropping a bold new lineup of minimalist boots and trail shoes built to go wherever the season takes you. Meet your new trail companions, the Trail Thrasher and the Trailblazer Mid. Engineered with tough, full rubber outsoles for serious grip and designed with urban edge, they're made to move seamlessly from rugged backcountry treks to the city streets. These are just two of the many styles hitting the Lems lineup soon, just the latest additions to the lineup of the best fitting shoes you've ever worn. Also, retailers, be sure to see Lems when they exhibit at GOA's Discovery Marketplace at the Connect Show in Kansas City this November, and we'll be there too. All right, we're here today with Nick Brandenberger, the Chief Marketing Officer of Mammut and the architect of Mammut's Mountain Wear Rescue campaign. Welcome to the show, Nick. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We're big fans of the work. Obviously, we're doing an episode of The Brief to kind of get into what led to this. You know, we talk a lot about outdoor marketing, and it's sort of anytime someone does something interesting, it's at least fun to see, and then kind of determine how effective it was. I think in your case, Dave and I were very much excited when we saw it, but we have to start these conversations like we always do with the big question: when it comes to Mountain Wear Rescue, what was the brief?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think there's probably three elements, three requirements that for us led ultimately to the brief. Like, one is we need to cut through the clutter. We're not like one of those big brands. We don't have super deep pockets. We have to make our dollars kind of work really, really hard for us, really punch above our weight. So that's basically what that means, is like we have to be super creative, super provocative, funny, or shocking, or all of these things. And so we kind of always aim for the work to be so good that it gets shared, trying to get free reach, basically, right? So that's one thing. Number two, from a creative perspective, we wanted to kind of this to be a continuation of some work that we did last year to position Mammut as a mountain brand and not as a streetwear brand. And to be honest, on that one, that was 2024. We were all a bit surprised, right? Like, I think that there was a lot of positive feedback from consumers, customers, partners, and even press. So we were onto something with defining ourselves through a negative. Normally, it's kind of, I think this was one of the few instances where this created a more clarity than a positive description of our positioning. So that was the second thing, to really dovetail into that kind of work. And then thirdly, we wanted this to be sort of loosely connected to how we execute across this fall-winter 25 season, which is based on the idea of how orophiles feel at home in the mountains, more than like inside four walls. And that idea you'll see reflected across all the product launches throughout the season, through all through the touch points and everything. So yeah, those three things, basically a combination of marketing effectiveness requirements, continuity in our campaign from last year, and then messaging coherence with the rest of the seasonal work. That was basically the three big things that we looked at for the brief.
You mentioned like kind of the Mammut being a bit of a smaller brand in the outdoor scene. At the same time, I mean, it's an OG, man. 1862, I think, is when the brand was founded. I don't think a lot of people listening to this who are in the industry realize that. I've been aware of Mammut since I've been in the industry, and I still would have said I was probably just one of those outdoor brands that started in like the 70s or 80s or something like that. So when you look at where the brand is now,
It was the 1870s, Colin.
yeah,
Exactly.
It's just like the North Face. No, 100 years. Where do you want the brand to be? Where do you guys where do you see the brand where it is now, and where do you want the brand to go?
It's a really good question, and actually, the format of the campaign with some core assets for paid and then a social first skit series, that was actually pretty deliberately chosen to drive reach with a younger, more global audience. Because as you say, right, like we're we're a storied brand, 160 years of history and expertise, but we've also been sort of quite classically Swiss, humble, understated in our brand expression over the past decade or so, and very focused on delivering high quality functional products to mountain enthusiasts, which is not wrong, but we've also been a bit removed from the community, and we haven't really celebrated our own purpose enough. And so we are now starting to focus much more on, storytelling that's really relatable, becoming less elitist and more real, and really making sort of the lessons of growth that we learn on the mountains really central to our storytelling in all its brutal, facets like blood, sweat, tears, and all. Of course, also joy. Yeah, and also maybe most importantly, like don't take ourselves too seriously, right? Like have fun at what we do, laugh
Sure.
about our own nerdiness and failures and all that kind of stuff. So in short, I would love for Mammut to become a brand that is like perceived as modern, culturally attuned, approachable, and fun. I think that's where I want it to be.
I think that's definitely you can see that in the pieces, kind of the serial structure of it, where you've got the different episodes leading up, different character types. No, I think it's great. I also want to add, like you just kind of hit on, the idea that a brand needs to stick to a single type of story or storyline, to me, is a little dated, right? And brands have multiple storylines, they have multiple personalities, right? And so being able to show them really kind of rounds out your brand as a relationship. Who am I with? Sometimes I'm with the serious, sometimes I'm with the hardcore, sometimes I'm with the playful, that kind of. So that I really think you hit that.
Absolutely, yeah. And I always say, like, a brand is in a way is like a person, and you have multiple facets of your personality, and
Yep.
you can be like, think of a mountain guide, right? Mountain guides like are there to kind of like keep you alive in the mountains, and they're super knowledgeable people, but they have the nastiest jokes, right? So they can be like super serious and like save your life, and like you're literally like your life is in their hands. And on the other side, you can have a laugh and like be funny and like and joke around, and those two sides are perfectly compatible, right? And I think as a brand, Mammut has been a little bit more on one side, but now we're really like over the past 2 years, I think we've been opening up to like a new kind of vibe, and it feels like we're having also more fun at work, which is showing in the execution.
Well, let's get into the campaign. I mean, number one, did you guys have a creative partner on the campaign? Was this all internally driven, or did you have an agency you worked with?
No, yeah, we have a creative agency. So Bell Moretti at Dept, that's kind of like our agency of record, and then we worked with Josh St. Pierre at Zoom, which is like a smaller agency out of Austria that we worked on with this. And we also created some of our own content to complement the campaign and extend sort of like the channel mix. We had like job descriptions. We did a job search on LinkedIn, and we had like a little stint at the Oktoberfest as well with our CEO. So yeah, we did some of our own content as well.
That's your actual CEO in these bits, right? I mean,
That's it.
That's
That's
not an
him. That's
actor.
Heiko. Yeah. No. That's our CEO. Yeah.
That's as a brand guy, that's got to be a little nice to know that he's kind of like down to clown around a little bit, right? I mean, like that's got to be nice.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, for a campaign earlier this year, I strapped him to the north face of Eiger, on a desk. That was also pretty fun, and he's up for that kind of stuff. I really love him for
What
that.
is it? Parasailing in to announce the winner of your photo contest.
Exactly, that as
That is
well.
a
Yeah,
chef's kiss, by the way. That is
yeah.
Colin, I don't know if you've seen this one, but he joins a group chat or a video chat while in the air, strapped to a guy parasailing down the valley, and they're totally surprised that all of a sudden the CEO appears and 2,000 feet up. It's amazing. It's a fantastic.
Look, Troy Sykott, Ryan Gellert, Caroline Brown. You guys, you've been served. Notice here. Come on.
Right. I want to see the board meeting conducted in free fall. I think that would be fantastic.
He's like the Tom Cruise of outdoor CEOs.
That's right.
He's
Can't
like
you see
telling
them
the
all,
board, what do you want me to do?
Linked in a circle by their hands. Yeah, that's right. I passed this motion. There you go.
So how did this all come together, Nick? How did it all develop? I mean, how long was it in development? What's sort of the backstory of the campaign?
Yeah, to tell the truth, it wasn't actually that easy, or it was a tough nut to crack. I have to be super honest with you guys. We briefed for the campaign almost a year ago, and that was just because we wanted to have a little bit more time to develop something. But we churned on getting to this idea for 6 or 7 months. We were just going from one idea to the other, and we couldn't land it. And then there were 2 or 3 moments that I feel like were kind of leading, or we're untying that knot, and they were happening more or less at the same time. One was our so Paul, our CPO, often says that 8 out of 10 of our jackets never see a mountain, and that wasn't news to us, right? We know that's just the way things are. That's where our consumers are and everything. But there was something in the way he said it. He didn't say 8 out of 10 of our jackets are used in the city. He said they never see a mountain, and in this slightly sort of pained voice. So for us, that was kind of that was one kind of thing that inspired us. It just hit a nerve.
Hey, we're the mountain brand, and none of our shit goes to the mountains.
Exactly, right? And then I think it was same day or the day after, we were really poring over those ideas, and then someone shared this Solomon, a meme where consumers are saying they're taking their Solomons to the trail and are posting something showing my Solomons the life they deserve. And that hit a nerve too, right? Because it came from the community and not from a brand. And we felt hey, that's interesting, right? So we had this combination of an internal insight where we're okay, so much of our product is actually just running around in cities and on the commute and everything. And then this external sort of community-based observation, and we sort of all felt we stumbled onto something here. This is true. This is strategically relevant. This is culturally relevant, and it could be executed in a really funny way. So from there, everything came together fairly quickly then.
So your background, you're not really, you don't have an outdoor background, right? But Mammut's kind of your first really big job in the outdoors versus eBay and fandom and places like that. That is always kind of when we hear people talk about, executives getting hired at outdoor brands, sometimes there's consternation about that, right? What are they going to know about, our world? I think there's always the fresh eyes on a situation. What kind of purview did you bring in this? Did you find any challenges bringing in sort of an outsider's perspective? Were there people we got to go more traditional here, guys. We need the glowing tent by the Alpine Lake with the pine tree and the acoustic guitar in the background. That's what we do. We're the outdoor industry.
I need a silhouette on a mountaintop with my arms above my head.
Yes, right. The victory pose, conquering the mountain. Yeah,
exactly.
Puffy jacket would just tie the whole thing together.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's actually interesting because on the one hand, I'm still getting grief from around the company in a way that I'm not from this industry. I'm the newbie, and okay, so he has a point of view,
outdoor
whatever.
industry persists, man.
Exactly. But on the other side, I think there's a lot. It gives me a lot of freedom to challenge things, right? Why are we doing this? Why is this like that? And so I think I came in with a fresh pair of eyes. It was, for me, in a way, the outdoor industry was just working on so many like similar visual benefit visualization, similar kind of like, they're doing like the long format films and then this and that, like some storytelling, but it all felt like pretty exchangeable. Like you just cover the brand name. It could be just as well any other brand, right?
Yep.
And in a way, what becomes clear is that like we don't own the mountains. We don't own the territory, the geography around like what we're showing. So that's not you can't use that as a distinctive asset for your brand. So and everyone has the epic shots, everyone has the beautiful landscapes, everyone has the blue hour, and all that. So you need to bring in more of your brand's character. You need to bring in more of your brand's distinctive assets to make it ownable, right? And to build out a character. You need to decide: are you like the serious brand? Are you the funny brand? Are you can you flex a little bit? What is your edge? How do you differentiate? How do you position yourself in the minds of the consumers? And I think that's where I came in and could bring some fresh perspective, right? But it's like, to be honest with you as well, like Mammut again, it's like it's a super storied brand. It's a diamond in the rough, so it's not about changing the brand completely. It's about polishing, sanding around the edges, and there you are. I think we're on a good track.
If anybody's doubting your bona fides, Nick's recording with us today from the Alps, where he's going to be mountain biking and hiking all weekend. So he's
Exactly.
legit, everybody. All right, he's not like looking at a
it's
computer.
It's easy if you live in Switzerland. Like the Alps are just like just
that's
outside
true.
of your house. Yeah.
Back to the creative piece. How did you land on like you said, it came together. You had your aha moments of insight, which I think totally makes sense. I love those. And then like you said, it comes together quickly. How did you land on the mockumentary style and the kind of casting that you did? Because it is a particular type of tactic that often brands are scared of, frankly, because humor doesn't always
Humor's
land.
hard.
But you guys seem to hit it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this was just like something where we felt like it's not a standard way of going out there with like with your storytelling or with your brand films. It's maybe it comes maybe a little bit from the left side, or like something that you see from other brands, but not in this category. And I think we felt like the skit series was a really interesting format. It allowed us to bring in humor, which was super important for us, because the way we're kind of seeing this was you have one piece that is polarizing, that is kind of like a paid media piece, a little bit of a launch film of sorts, and that was really designed to be polarizing, and that's what it did.
That was a little more almost self-serious with the agents with the glasses on, kind of going around, right?
Exactly. And like, I mean, obviously we had a lot of discussions around this, like, is this, the right time to kind of show up with this kind of creative? But like the engagement on the asset was worth a lot, because it created so much reach, it created so much engagement on those posts. And this has then set the stage for us, to build up that tension and then come with a skit series that in a way almost relieves that tension, and helps us kind of show up with the right character that we ultimately wanted to stick.
Well, I'll say Outdoor Industry LinkedIn is a funny place, because I remember the day one reaction of that piece, right, was sort of like, oh, what is this? What is the gatekeeping that Mammut is doing now? That kind of thing. And then to your point, so I'm trying to picture you at Mammut at HQ, like monitoring these comments, and then you drop, the Katie Burrell pieces and all the follow-ups, and it's like, oh, this is what they're doing. I mean, was that tough to kind of go through that, the process of that release schedule?
It was tough, because I think there was some nervosity on our side, obviously, right? Like, because it could have gotten so much traction that we would have had to advance the release of the skit series. So we really wanted this to kind of sit and marinate for like a week. But like day two, there was, there's more coming in and there's more feedback, and like people are like getting cold feet a little bit. And I'm like, no, it's not yet. It's not yet boiling. It's like, just wait it out. Like, just, let it go, because it is true that it created the conversation. It created, a lot of engagement, and like that reach was like really, really good, because then you can follow up with a skit series, and you can really kind of like dive in there, and like I think it was a little bit of a risky approach. I have to say that, but I was actually quite confident that we would land it right. So
Like I said, I think the casting of Katie was very deft. She really did bring the exact kind of nuance to it. The whole team did, but I think just that to me was one of the insights to the. Obviously, some of the other characters were fantastic. Yannick, the designer, is great, and same with the what is it, the CEO's daughter, the social media.
Oh my
Beacon
God.
She
social
played
media
that
manager,
so
yeah.
well, yeah. But I think so. I do have to ask this. Any hesitation to featuring an American as your lead spokesperson in this campaign?
Not at all. No, I think for me it was actually almost something that I felt like is required to generate a little bit more reach and relevance in regions where we're otherwise not that visible, and
Mm-hmm.
difficult for us to cut through. So for me, it was almost like a no-brainer to say like, hey, actually, if we wanted to be seen in North America and cut through some really provocative, funny content, then we have to bring in some local relevance, and there's no better way than to do that with Katie. I mean, she's
Right.
absolutely brilliant.
You're not worried about her invading Greenland or anything, like.
Not
She could.
not
I
at
mean,
all.
Okay,
I
good.
wouldn't have known that was her plan all along, but like but
Those skiers, they can be awfully crafty. That's right.
exactly.
I guess, last segment, how long does this run? Like, please tell us there's more coming.
Well, I was just
Like,
going to say, based on the success of Ted Lasso turning an ad into a show, can we expect a Netflix
Yeah.
series? And is there going to be a season 2 of this
Ted
campaign?
Sarandis, get on the phone with Nick. Let's make
That's
this
right.
happen.
Yeah,
Apple
right.
got Ted. You can get
Right.
Katie and crew in
Is there going
in
to be a
Switzerland.
season 2?
I think in this case I would have to reach out to Netflix and really do a pitch. But no, I mean you're right. Like I think we feel like we touched on something that is super interesting. This particular campaign, we've concluded on this. Maybe with a cherry on the cake before Christmas. Let's see where we get with this.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, we launched some other stuff now. New generation of Pinnacle Performance, Iker Extreme is just out in the market. So we had to move on, but like we're definitely gonna follow up on this, and also in terms of the format, I think we feel like this has some more runway for sure. Yep, stay tuned.
That's great.
Well, right on. Well, Nick, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. Congrats on the campaign. Excited to see what you guys are gonna do next. I think if the takeaway here obviously is brands, hey, try stuff. I think we're making fun of like the tropes, but that's also because the tropes have been done to death. So spend some time, pull together some cool ideas. I mean, and really fun, interesting things can happen, especially in our outdoor space. But appreciate you joining the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
All right, we're back with the final analysis. So, Dave, here are the categories again. We've got originality,
All right. Yeah.
brand fit, messaging clarity, visual impact, strategic cleverness. So this is out of 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Mountain Wear Rescue, Mammut, Dave, what'd you give it for originality?
Originality. Okay. Well, like I said, the mockumentary is a tried and true. Even the way that they've, kind of the camera setups, things like that. I'm gonna say we've definitely seen that before, but in our sector, in our space, it's definitely hasn't been employed in the same way. I'm gonna give them a 7.5.
I think that's fair because it is done.
Yeah.
It has been done, but
Yeah.
you're right. But the only argument I'd say to maybe go a little higher if you wanted to is that I think many other outdoor brands would try this and fail miserably.
Well, originality doesn't actually speak to did they land it,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good point.
I mean, so
It's a good point.
So I mean, they certainly landed it. But
Yes,
7.5.
7.5 I think is fair. That's a good score.
Okay.
That's a good score.
Okay.
Okay, 7.5 for originality. Moving on, brand fit.
Wow. I got to say, before they landed it, I would have said that this is not what Mammut brings to the table. But I think they hit it. I think that the personalities, the subtleties, I mean, the fact that they can laugh at themselves. Again, Yannick, the German designer, is amazing. I'm going to give them an 8. I
Yeah.
think it fits their brand.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Yeah.
the thing that I like about it is, and they had run ads before. I mean, they acknowledge, and I think Nick even did during our conversation around how like so much of the stuff is every outdoor brand deals with this. 90% of what they make is streetwear, right? It's not used in the mountains. So there's a subtlety about the reality of making outdoor stuff. It's a little like understanding kind of your place in the world here, while still elevating what is cool about your brand and that it is a mountain brand and still poking fun of it. It's very layered, and I really appreciate it. It isn't just so on the nose one note campaign. So I think
which brings us to the third point, though.
Messaging clarity.
Right. And to that point, do they get across the idea that preconceived notions of use are a little absurd and gatekeepy?
Yes.
And just as absurd as the fact that we spend money on these really capable performance items that will never see what they were made for. Right. I mean, it's equal two sides of the same coin. They highlight that piece. I think they get, and does it show levity that, hey, we're a brand that has a little bit sense of humor and aren't so self-serious. So I'm going to give it a 9.
9
I think they nailed it. I think they nailed it.
This might be. I don't remember what we gave the other ones. We'll have to go back and look at what we gave the other brands and then post it on Instagram or something like that.
I don't know.
But this might be the highest.
Coffee's really good this morning, so I'm just kind of going with a nice dark roast, feeling it.
Well, I like that it's because the point you made about it, the humor landing, the point that they pulled it off, and that it's just funny. It's not outdoor funny. It's funnier if you're an outdoorsy person and you know all the tropes, but it's funny anyway. Yep. And so that makes me, as an outdoorsy person, want to support their brand.
Timing and delivery, man. Timing and delivery.
And if you are an outsider looking at just needing a rain jacket or a beginner outdoorsy person and you saw this, it would resonate with you to the point where this might become your go-to brand. Yep. So, agreed. All right, visual impact.
Okay, this is a tougher one for a campaign that is inherently quasi-realistic, right? In the sense that the mockumentary has a certain look to it.
Right.
Your camera angles, the way that the actors come in and out. I think so. You're kind of limited to what you can do visually. I think they did it very well.
Yeah.
Because they played the medium and they played the theme. But if I'm going to go like we looked at a North Face video a little while ago, and or even what we just saw with Columbia, where those visuals jump out of the screen and grab you. It's just not that kind of campaign. So I'm going to give them a 6.5, just a 6.5. But that is in no way, again, denigrating the concept. It's just the nature of what you need. You need to be understated in your visuals.
Are you dinging them a little bit for just because of what they chose to show? Probably. I mean, it's harder to be a little more visually impact.
Probably, but you add a little bit of motion graphics to it, some kind of, I don't know, just come on, give me something. Give me a logo at the end that jumps out.
All right, fair. All right, and last one, strategic cleverness. I mean,
10.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, have you seen a more clever campaign? I mean,
they just hit it again with their brand. Like, part of it's the surprise. So the brand fit, it goes together with that. It's like, yeah, that was well done. Well done.
All right. So of the 5 main categories, they get a 41 out of 50.
Wow.
I got to go back and look. That might be the highest we've given so far, or you've given so far. Then we do have our bonus category of producer Dave's fucks to give, which I can't remember. How do we define fucks to give?
Do they give a fuck?
The brand, right?
Do they give a fuck? And I think that is solidly in the no, they do not.
Zero fucks to give.
Zero fucks to give. They were going to do it. They knew it was a risk. They did it anyway. They took a total risk or a bet on humor, being able to land humor. They even played on the fact that they might not be able to land humor.
Yeah.
So good for them.
Yeah, look, and you heard Nick talk about it. I mean, he came from outside the industry. He still catches grief from people inside his own brand.
As he should.
Not being, an insider.
Right.
That paid off here.
Yeah, right.
Right. The buck stops with him as the chief marketing officer.
You know what? Pictures of you on the rope tow, that's not something to be prideful of. Like, just come on. Just
That's right. All right, I think we did it. Okay. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. It was a good catch, Colin. This was a good campaign.
This is a good one. Yeah. All right. Well, stay tuned for the next episode of The Brief. That's the show for today. The Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. Today's episode produced by kind of my co-host and the driver of The Brief, producer Dave. Art direction provided by Sarah Gensert.
Sarah, where's the brief, Gensert?
Where's the brief, Gensert? That's it. That's sticking. The Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. I'm Colin True. Thank you for listening. And here to take us out is Krista Makes. We should get him on to do the brief. I don't know why we would, but let's just do it. We could do Less Than Jake as the brief for a ska band.
There you go.
With the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock Fight.